Right. What's your move up?
Jamea Janae Harris was a mother. She had one child. She smiled a lot. She loved her baby boy. She did not know her life was going to end on that cold night in January. She went out with her boyfriend and cousin to have a good time. She was not causing trouble. She was not fighting. She was just enjoying the night. But that night, a stranger walked up to her. He wanted her attention. He asked her to come closer. She said no. She was polite. She didn't shout. She simply said no. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. A few minutes later, there was a gun. There were shots. A bullet flew. It hit Jamia right in the face. She died. All because she said no.
Here at home, the death penalty officially off the table for both men charged in a deadly shooting on the Tuscaloosa Strip. If convicted, court documents show that Michael Davis now faces life in prison for the murder of Jamea Harris. In January of 2023, Harris was shot and killed after leaving a bar with her boyfriend and cousin. Former University of Alabama basketball player Darius Miles is also charged in Harris's death. The state decided against seeking the death penalty for Miles in August of 2023.
The man who brought the gun wasn't alone. He was with his friend, a basketball player, a big name, a college star. He did not shoot, but he brought the gun to the scene. He said he didn't know it would be used. Now, everyone is asking, who is to blame? Did the basketball player help? Or was he just caught in the wrong place? Why did a simple no lead to someone dying? Jamia's mother cried. Her baby boy now has no mother. Her boyfriend tried to save her, but was too late. Was this murder? Was it a mistake? Or was it just another story where fame speaks louder than justice? Stay with us as we unravel this shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's begin. Jamea Janae Harris was a young woman. She was 23 years old. She was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham is a city in the state of Alabama, in the United States. That is where she lived before she died. Jamia was a mother. She had one child. Her child was a boy. He was 5 years old when she died. She loved her son very much. She took care of him every day. She gave him food. She gave him clothes. She made sure he was clean. She helped him learn things. She was proud to be a mother. She called her son her best friend. Jamia was not married. She raised her son with help from her family. Her mother helped her. Her cousin helped her. She made sure her child had what he needed. She took him to school. She took him to the doctor when he was sick. She played with him. She laughed with him. She gave him hugs. She made sure he felt safe. Jamia had dreams. She wanted to do more with her life. She wanted to go back to school. She wanted to get a better job. She wanted to save money. She wanted to buy a house. She wanted to travel. She wanted her son to have a good life. She wanted him to grow up and do big things. Jamia liked simple things. She liked taking pictures. She liked listening to music. She liked going out with friends. She liked staying home and watching movies. She liked dressing up. She liked posting photos on social media. She liked smiling. She liked helping others. Jamia did not have a lot of money, but she worked hard. She made sure her child had food and clothes. She used her money carefully. She bought what they needed. She didn't waste things. She was careful and smart. Jamia had a calm life. She did not cause trouble. She did not fight with people. She did not get arrested. She stayed away from danger. She focused on her son. She focused on her family. She lived a quiet and peaceful life. Jamia was close to her family. She talked to her mother almost every day. Her cousin was like her sister. They took care of each other. They supported each other. Her family loved her. They said she was a good person. They said she had a big heart. They said she always tried to do the right thing. It was a cold night on January 15th, 2023, when Jamea Janae Harris went out with her boyfriend and cousin. They weren't looking for trouble. They just wanted to have some fun, enjoy the night, and make some memories. It was supposed to be a simple, good time. They didn't know that this night would change everything forever. They were in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, around 1:30 a.m. The location was a place where young people gathered to hang out, listen to music, and relax. There were many other people around, but Jamia, her boyfriend, and cousin just wanted to spend time together. They went to the Strip, a popular area near the University of Alabama, where students often went for fun. Before the incident, Jamia was simply enjoying the night. They weren't looking for any problems. They were just walking around, talking and laughing like anyone would do. It was like any other evening out, except it wasn't. Have you ever gone out thinking everything would be fine, but something bad happened instead? As Jamia and her companions were leaving the area, they bumped into a group of people. One of the men in the group was a University of Alabama basketball player. He was famous, and people knew who he was. He was there with some of his friends. They were all hanging out, having fun. However, something went wrong that night. Jamia's boyfriend and a group of men started talking, but things quickly became tense. There was an argument, but no one knew how it started. The basketball player's friends began to act strangely. They seemed to be upset about something, but it wasn't clear what. In the middle of the argument, Jamia was asked to come closer by one of the men. She didn't want to, so she said, "No." It was a simple response, nothing more. She was polite and firm, but that no seemed to make everything escalate quickly. The man didn't like being refused. It was unclear why, but he became angry. Jamia said no, because she didn't feel comfortable and she didn't want to get involved with them. But that simple word, no, was enough to cause a violent reaction. Jamia didn't want trouble. She wasn't looking for a fight. But because she said no, everything changed. Should no ever lead to violence? What happened next was quick and terrifying. After Jamia refused, the situation turned worse. The man who'd been angry pulled out a gun. He didn't just hold it, he fired. No one knew what happened in the moments before the shot, but the University of Alabama basketball player and his friends were right there. They were not the ones who shot, but they were involved in the situation. One of them had the gun, and one of them pulled the trigger. The shot rang out at around 1:45 a.m., and in an instant, Jamia fell to the ground. The bullet hit her in the face, and she collapsed. The man who fired the gun didn't stop. It happened so fast that there wasn't time to think. Jamia's boyfriend and cousin tried to help, but it was too late. She was seriously hurt. People around tried to call for help, but nothing could change what had happened. The gunshot was already fired. The pain was too much, and Jamia didn't survive. The police arrived shortly after. They tried to figure out who had fired the shot, but it was clear that one of the men from the group had been the one to pull the trigger. The situation was still messy, and people didn't know what would happen next. Where were the people who should have stopped this from happening? This is a story of the night that everything changed. What was supposed to be a simple evening out turned into something much worse. Jamia didn't deserve what happened. She was only trying to enjoy her night, and yet a simple no led to a life being lost. This case raises questions about how we react when we don't get what we want, and whether we're prepared to make better choices in difficult moments. What do you think? Should a simple no ever lead to this kind of violence? Could someone have stopped it from happening? When the police arrived at the scene, it was already too late for Jamea Janae Harris. The shooting had just happened, and she was lying on the ground. The people who were with her, including her boyfriend and cousin, were scared. They didn't know what to do. Her boyfriend had been hurt in the shooting, but was still alive. He was rushed to the hospital. But Jamia, she had been shot in the face. There was no saving her. The police arrived soon after. They started looking around for clues. They asked everyone at the scene what happened. Jamia's death was confirmed quickly. It was clear she had not survived. The police began their investigation right away. They took notes, looked for witnesses, and try to figure out who was responsible. But the big question was, how did this happen? Jamia had done nothing wrong. She had simply said no to someone. Her boyfriend, who had been shot too, was lucky. He survived, but he was badly hurt. He couldn't help Jamia. He didn't have time to save her. The police asked him about what happened, but he was too hurt to give all the details. It was a sad and shocking moment for everyone involved. A mother lost her life, and her family was left with a deep pain they couldn't fix. After the shooting, the police started their search for the people responsible. They quickly arrested two men, the one who pulled the trigger and the University of Alabama basketball player. Who was there with him? The first man was charged with murder because he had killed Jamia. He was the one who actually shot her. The police said he had done it without any reason that made sense. He had a gun, and instead of talking or walking away, he shot someone. He took a life. The basketball player didn't pull the trigger, but he was involved. He had brought the gun with him. He didn't stop his friend when the shooting happened. He didn't try to help. Instead, he was just there watching. Because of this, people started asking, was he responsible too? Did he play a part in Jamia's death? Even though he didn't pull the trigger, the police decided to charge the basketball player too. But the charge was different. It wasn't murder, but it was still serious. The police needed to figure out whether he had helped or if he had just been a bystander. His lawyer said that he didn't know the shooting was going to happen. The lawyer said the basketball player didn't have control over what his friend did. The lawyer argued that the player wasn't responsible for Jamia's death. The university where the basketball player went to school, the University of Alabama, had a different response. They were worried about the scandal. They did not want their name connected to something this serious. They said they would look into what had happened, but they didn't make any big statements right away. People were waiting to see if the school would take any action against the player. This question started to get more attention. The basketball player was famous. He played for a big university. He had a lot of fans. Many people thought that because he was famous, he would get special treatment. Some believed that the law might not be as harsh on him because of his fame. Was that fair? Other people said it didn't matter if he was famous or not. They said that everyone should be treated the same by the law. Fame shouldn't make a difference in a murder case. They believed that if the basketball player was involved in any way, he should be held accountable just like anyone else. The case was complicated. The police had to look at everything carefully. They had to figure out whether the basketball player had done something wrong, or if he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They also had to decide if the man who pulled the trigger was acting on his own, or if the basketball player helped in any way. Everyone wanted to know the truth, and the legal battle was just beginning. As the investigation continued, more people began to ask questions. How could something like this happen? Could it have been prevented? And most importantly, who was going to be held responsible for taking Jamia's life? How would you feel if you lost a loved one this way? Is being famous a shield against punishment? Should the basketball player be held responsible for what happened, even though he didn't pull the trigger? Do you think the law treats everyone equally, or do famous people get different treatment? The investigation continued, and the legal battle went on. The truth was still unclear, but one thing was certain. The loss of Jamea Janae Harris would not be forgotten. When Jamea Janae Harris was killed, it was not just the loss of one person. It affected many people. Her family, friends, and everyone who loved her were left with a hole in their hearts. The people closest to Jamia felt a deep, painful loss. They had lost a daughter, a sister, and a mother. Jamia's family spoke out about how important she was to them. Her mother, father, and other family members said that Jamia was the light of their lives. She was kind, caring, and always put her family first. She had big dreams, especially for her young son. Jamia's family said she was just starting her life and wanted to give her son the best future possible. They described her as a loving person who would do anything for her family. They spoke about the sadness they felt after losing Jamia. Her family couldn't believe that someone could take her life over something as simple as saying no. They said she was not someone who deserved to die. In their eyes, Jamia was just a young mother trying to live her life. Jamia's family found out the tragic news in the worst way possible. The people closest to her were told by the police that she had been shot and killed. The news hit them hard. Her mother and father were devastated. They couldn't understand why Jamia had to die. The family was in shock. They didn't know how to handle the news or how to tell Jamia's son, who was now left without a mother. Her family shared their pain with the world, hoping that people would understand the weight of their loss. They wanted justice for Jamia, but they also wanted to make sure no one else had to go through the same heartache. Jamia's child, only 5 years old, now had to grow up without his mother. He had to face life without her care, love, and protection. Jamia's family stepped in to help raise her son, but no one could replace his mother. The boy would grow up with memories of a mother he could no longer see, touch, or hug. Her family was determined to keep her memory alive. They talked about how important it was to help raise Jamia's son with love and care, but they also knew it would never be the same. The loss of Jamia would leave a permanent mark on everyone in her family, but her son would carry it most of all. One of the hardest questions Jamia's family asked was about the time it took to bring justice for her. The family wondered why it was taking so long for court to decide what should happen to the people involved in her death. They asked why it was so difficult for the legal system to give them answers. The process of seeking justice for Jamia was slow, and her family was frustrated. They just wanted to know that the people responsible for her death would be held accountable. Should justice take this long? For Jamia's family, the answer was clear. No. They felt that the legal system should work faster, especially in cases like this where a life was lost so suddenly. But for now, they could only wait and hope for a fair trial. After Jamia's death, many people spoke about it. The news spread quickly, and people on social media shared their thoughts. Some people were shocked by how easily the shooting happened, and they called for justice. Others were upset about the role that power and fame seemed to play in the case. On social media, many people expressed their sadness and anger. They couldn't believe that someone could die over something as simple as saying no. Many people said that Jamia didn't deserve to die. Some even asked why the person who pulled the trigger wasn't facing more serious charges. Others were curious about the involvement of a University of Alabama basketball player. They wanted to know if his fame and connections would affect the case. People on social media shared their concerns about whether the legal system would treat him fairly, just because he was a well-known athlete. As the case went on, people started asking whether justice was fair. Was it fair that a mother lost her life, while the people involved seemed to get special treatment because of their fame? Many people felt that justice had failed because it was taking so long to get answers. Some people believed that the people responsible for the crime might never face the full consequences because of who they were. The case became a symbol of how power and wealth can sometimes make things unfair. People want to know if someone with money or fame could get away with something that others might not. In this case, the University of Alabama basketball player played a big role. He was well known, and some people believe that his fame might affect how the case was handled. People questioned whether his status as a college athlete would help him avoid the consequences of his actions. The idea that power and fame could change the way a case was handled upset many people. They felt that the case should not be about how famous someone was, but about what was right and fair. They wanted to know if fame should protect someone from facing justice. The case sent a strong message to young people. Fame and power don't make you above the law, but it also raised questions about whether justice is always fair. Young people might wonder if what happened to Jamia could happen to them, and whether the legal system would treat them the same way. They might think about how important it is to make good choices and understand that actions have consequences. The story of Jamea Janae Harris is one that shows how justice can be slow and how sometimes power and fame can change the way people are treated. But it's also a reminder how important it is for everyone to be treated equally under the law. After Jamea Janae Harris was tragically shot and killed, her family and friends had many questions. They wanted to know why it happened, who was responsible, and what could be done to prevent such a thing from happening again. In the days and months following Jamia's death, the legal process began. Several people were involved, and the case started to move through the court system. One of the main people involved was the basketball player from the University of Alabama. He was accused of bringing the gun that led to Jamia's death. The court had to decide if he was guilty of helping in the crime or if he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The legal team had to gather all the evidence. This included the police report, witness statements, and any video footage that might show what happened. They would then present this evidence in court to help the judge or jury decide who was at fault. The process of going to court can take months, sometimes even years. Many families who go through this often have to wait a long time for justice. While the case moved forward, people were watching closely. They wanted to see what would happen in the courts, as the case could set a big example for future cases of violence like this one. When something serious like this happens, sometimes rules and laws can change. People begin to ask, how can we make sure this doesn't happen again? In some cases, schools, universities, and even governments look at their rules and decide if they need to make changes. For example, after the incident, some people started asking questions about how schools deal with violence involving their students. The University of Alabama, where the basketball player came from, might look at their own rules about students and safety. They might decide to put in new rules about how players should behave, how to handle dangerous situations, or even how to deal with students who break the law. Schools and universities have the responsibility to keep their students and the community safe. Laws might also change. If the court decides to make new rules about how people should behave in situations like this, it could change the way similar cases are handled in the future. People are always looking for ways to improve the system so that everyone is treated fairly. Even though Jamia's family faces terrible loss, they still had to keep going. They needed support to help them through this difficult time. Family and friends often came together to give them love and care. They might also have spoken to counselors or support groups to help them understand their feelings and deal with their pain. Jamia's family worked hard to keep her memory alive. They wanted people to remember who she was and what she stood for. They hoped that by telling her story, they could make a difference in the world. They wanted everyone to learn from what happened to Jamia and not let it be forgotten. The family also needed help with things like funeral costs, legal fees, and just getting by day to day. They might have gotten help from local organizations, charities, or fundraisers to make sure they didn't have to face these challenges alone. Jamia's story is important for everyone to hear. It teaches us some valuable lessons. First, it reminds us how important it is to respect others. Saying no is a simple thing, but it should never lead to harm. It shows us that violence is never the answer, no matter the situation. We must all learn to control our actions and understand the consequences of our behavior. Another lesson is about accountability. When something goes wrong, it's important that those responsible face the consequences. People in positions of power, like famous athletes or anyone with influence, should remember that their actions have an impact on others. We can also learn about the importance of protecting each other. Everyone has a right to feel safe, whether they are walking down the street, at school, or at a party. When something bad happens, it's important for people to speak up and take action to prevent it from happening again. Jamia's life was taken too soon. She was a mother, a daughter, and a friend. She had dreams, but those dreams ended because someone didn't respect her simple request. Her death shows us how important it is to listen to each other and to understand the power of saying no. No one should have to fear for their life when they choose to speak up. Jamia's family continues to fight for justice, hoping that one day they will get the answers they deserve. The court will decide if those responsible are held accountable for what happened. But no matter what the outcome, her story will always be a reminder of the importance of safety, respect, and responsibility. If it were your sister, your friend, or your daughter, what would you do? If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.